mean, there's one thing I have to say is you have to cook from your heart.
Is food really meant to be judged?
Not at all. Food is food. Why do you have to judge the food? We did not cook the food just to get all those accolades or all those things.
Sure.
From the day one, we just cook the food with a dignity and pride, and this is our food. Hi, this is Vijay Kumar from Semma, New York City, and this is Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing.
Yeah. My name is Abhay Dandekar, and I share conversations with talented and interesting individuals linked to the global Indian and South Asian community. It's informal and informative, adding insights to our evolving cultural expressions, where each person can proudly say, "Trust me, I know what I'm doing."
Welcome, everybody, to this episode of Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing. A lot of times on the podcast, we talk about bringing our backstories and cultural anchors into the excellence of our daily work. But I think where this certainly manifests the best and the most, of course, is through the food we eat and the people we share it with. Chef Vijay Kumar is the executive chef at Semma in New York City, where along with winning a Michelin star, he is the recent winner of the James Beard Award. And more importantly, he's redefining what regional Indian food means in the larger context of American dining and the American dining experience. And we're just simply delighted to share some time with him today. Vijay, thank you so much for joining us today on Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing.
Well, thank you. Like I said earlier, before even we started the podcast, I was telling you, I saw a couple of your guests who was in your podcast before. I felt like, I feel like this is a huge honor that you let me be in your podcast. So I feel so honored, but thanks for having me here.
No, the honor's ours. And more importantly, we get the chance to catch up and share some time. First off, I have to tell you that, of course, just like, we were talking about what we do respectively. And certainly everyone has this perception that doctors are really, really busy. But the truth is that nobody works harder than executive chefs out there. I mean, you guys really are, it's a 24/7 role. But when you have a successful restaurant, when you are running a business operation, it means that there are lots and lots of late nights and lots of early mornings. Do you particularly have a typical morning routine that kind of keeps it so that you stay focused and disciplined?
I mean, as soon as, I think as you can see, there's a few things on my back wall. As soon as I wake up, I see the thing. It's like my motivation. Like,
yeah.
Hey, it's waking up. When you wake up, it's always, you feel lazy. Like, you're just like, oh God, but when you look at this one, hey, look at this. You have a responsibility on your shoulder right there. So you need to wake up, just, start your day with your big energy. Then you have a long way to go. So that's a big motivation for me right there in front of me as soon as I wake up.
Once you get that kind of gratitude of looking at those frames on your wall and really sort of like thinking about the responsibility and the respect, do you automatically have something that you make sure that you also tend to, like, hey, I need to exercise, I need to meditate, or is it right away, I need to think about what's going on for the day's work now at Semma?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're talking about exercising personally. Like for me, like, I think that's something I need to work on it. I need to physically, like, take care of exercise because I'm physically active in the kitchen. So I'm on my feet like 10 to 12 hours a day. Like, but besides that, I'd have to, like, make sure that I have to exercise, which I need to as a doctor. I mean, you know that. So I have to do this. And, but I think for me, as soon as I wake up, like I said, I just get ready and start looking at my text messages, emails, make sure like things are okay in the kitchen because, you get messages from vendors, from your staff to make sure, everything is ready for the day. So that's the first thing I do. Very, very first thing, make sure that everything is good to go for the whole day. Then I check all the emails. I mean, obviously you have to catch up with all the paperworks and, other things. That my first 3 hours will be gone and just the paperworks and, dealing with those other things.
All the sort of administrative things that go into the food, right?
Exactly. As soon as you get into the kitchen, there's no way you can, go into your laptop or, you can do your administrative work. So, then my regular dates start around like 1:30 to 2, then till the night.
When you're in the kitchen, there's so much going on. The concentration, of course, is on the food and the dining experience. But at the end, right, like you mentioned, like when you focus on the administrative part, you're sort of dialed in there. But when you're focusing on the food and the operations, you're dialed in there. You can't get distracted. I'm just curious. I mean, there's an element of repetition here for sure. I mean, for someone who has gone through the entire journey and pathway here, one thing that was crossing my mind, especially in seeing some of your work, but do you have any idea of how many dosa you've actually made in your life?
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really keep track on it, but
Thousands?
probably more than that, actually.
More than that, right?
Because we do sell about at least 100, 150 dosa a day. So if we've opened the door like 4 years, almost 4 years now. So if you do the math, I don't know how many is going to come out.
Right.
And it's not like I'm not the only one who makes the thing. I have a team, who
Right.
also so yeah, I can't take credit on my own. So my team is right there who's doing everything for me. Like, it's a big restaurant, it's a big kitchen, and it's, we had to feed for 200 people. There's no way it's only one man can do everything for the entire, thing.
No.
So I'm
Yeah.
blessed to have a team, who does who's been phenomenally working so hard and, with the dignity and pride and, everything. So that way I feel so blessed.
Yeah. I mentioned the dosa part on purpose because, things actually that we do on a repetitive basis, we feel like, hey, we can do it in our sleep. And yet sometimes, right, like it's the boring things, it's the mundane things that still actually have so much joy and beauty from that. So, it's something like dosa that you can potentially make in your sleep, or, there's so much repetition that it's involved. And do you still find joy in those tasks that seem mundane, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is something like what you enjoy doing it, right? So I never felt that this being either monotonous or being boring or whatever it is. Because first of all, you have to enjoy what you do, regardless whatever you do, right? And the fact that you get connected emotionally with the guest, that gives you a lot more joy, like a lot more enthusiasm, like a lot more representation, a lot more responsibility to do the thing what you're doing, in fact do better than what you're doing. So I think it's actually giving me a lot more joy than feeling boring.
That's great. Yeah. You mentioned, of course, you've mentioned it in the past, and certainly to lots of others, that Semma's food is home food, right? And that authenticity, that idea of being authentic and sincere in that presentation is so important. But guests and customers, I'm thinking about this from two different aspects. Like a guest or a customer who comes in, they also crave personalizing things, and they crave it so that it feels like it's a meal just for them, where they might be able to ask that, I want my gunpowder dosa with medium spice or mild spice. But our grandmothers were probably not necessarily asking us that question when we were growing up. So I'm curious, how do you blend the kind of authentic experience of saying, hey, this is the way the food is, in that sincere way, versus the kind of personalization that sometimes customers really want?
Well, I think first of all, our brand is Unapologetic Foods. I mean, a lot of guests who comes to restaurant, I mean, they know our brand is Unapologetic. We're trying to be who we are. We're not trying to either turn down the spices or or make it more spicy, whatever it is, because we're trying to cook the food just like how you could back home. So they respect that fact, the fact that how the food is being unapologetically cooked, and then how it's cooked unapologetically, authentically, and how the food is being served just like how we cook back home. So definitely people respect that a lot, and we don't get those kind of requests very often. I think it's I don't think we need to worry about that part, actually. I mean, except there's a kid, let's say there's a small kid comes there, we might skip the gunpowder because we don't want it, so those that's time we are really considerate, so other than that, I think the guest has been very, very considerate. They're very thoughtful. They don't really bother us too much, modifying things for their own way.
And does being unapologetic and being very sincere about the authenticity of that, is that something that things that people kind of have to get more used to, especially in a culture where the Instacart, the idea that you can have something at your fingertips at any moment, that unapologetic mantra or ethos, I mean, it takes a lot of care and it takes a lot of crafting to do. And when people come to your restaurant, are they somewhat surprised by that? In a good way, by the way.
Yeah, surprised by why the food is being unapologetically it is.
That hey, this is the way it is, and if you really want the authentic experience, this is exactly what you have in front of you. There's no
I mean, people comes with an expectation. They want the home cooked food, because they come to Semma because they know, they expect the food is going to be like, it's a home cooked food. It's not
Yeah.
going to be the food for someone to please. It's not going to be like that. So they know the food
Mm.
is going to be home cooked food. So they expect that way. Then they appreciate that the food is being unapologetically cooked.
Which is somewhat different from the kind of traditional mindset of an Indian restaurant, or for that matter, many restaurants, not just Indian, right? And when people are thinking about that experience and the authenticity behind it and the sincerity behind that, it sounds like that's something that your team, you really all have to rally around in such a way that, like, nope, there's no cutting corners on being unapologetic.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think we do have a pride and dignity and representation and
Yeah.
responsibility. So I think in that way, we are being very, very. I don't know if you can use the word stubborn.
Yeah.
It's just, we
That's
just,
okay.
yeah, we just wanted to be like, who we are. We definitely don't want
Right.
to try and fit into somebody else's mold, or we don't want to,
Mm.
we don't want to do things just to please others. Let's be
Right.
who we are. Like,
Yeah.
that's our mantra. Actually, I was going to steal your word, mantra. That's actually, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think that's great. And
yeah,
again, it's sort of, there's no better power than just simply being who you are.
right,
I want to ask you, how much do you balance the nostalgia of the food of your youth with creating kind of new things out of those memories? Being who you are is certainly
right.
important, and that's anchored with all those great memories of the food from your home and from your mom or your grandmother. And yet, is it also powerful to take that and transform it, or to innovate in new ways as well?
Right. I mean, first of all, the food at Sema, it's not just the food. It's the food. I mean, it's just not the food. It's the story.
Mm.
It's the life. Like, right? It's my childhood. Not
Yeah.
just my childhood. There's a millions and millions of people who had a same kind of childhood, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, so it's basically a representation of, or maybe nostalgic memory of my childhood or our childhood
Yeah.
memories. That's in Sema's plate actually. It's not just the
Mm.
food. It's actually telling the story of their life, like things like snakes, right? It's
Mm.
not just a food. It's a story of my life, like how we
Yeah.
grew up. Not just my life, like people, like it's a
People
people
around
of,
you as well.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
people around from Tamil Nadu, people from the village in Tamil Nadu. Like
Yeah.
it's there's a lot of dishes that's being like unknown. Like a lot of people don't even
Mm.
know there are so many dishes are existing, and
Yeah.
there are people even don't know what are the lifestyle in village. And
Right.
it's not just, again, it's not just the food. It's also like a life of farmers, life
Mm.
of village in Tamil Nadu. It's
Yeah.
life of our culture. It's our
Yeah.
cuisine, like everything.
Everything.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
The stories around that and the presentation, the
yeah,
way it's actually framed, and
exactly.
so it's the entire experience.
I mean, yes, but can we I mean, the goal is like, we're trying to represent our food, we're trying to showcase our food. At the same time, we also, can we elevate a little bit? When
Mm.
there's like Italian food, like French food, like, you can name all the cuisines. When they all look beautiful, why not our food? Why can't
Yeah.
we make it look more presentable?
Yep.
Right? So yeah, so that was the thing. I mean, I'm trying to modernize my food, the food what
Hmm.
I grew up without giving away with authenticity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
No,
yeah,
that's a great blend, and it's not
yeah.
easy to do, for sure.
I'm trying. I don't think I'm still completely done yet. I think we still have a very, very long way to go. This feels like it's just a beginning. I think we still have to keep pushing it. I think we're still trying.
When someone asks you that, like, okay, you said that you have a long way to go and you still have to keep pushing it. Is it such that you feel that there are still areas of exploration?
Oh, 100%, like 100%. This is a lot. I mean, I think, so think about, like, it's like, it's our cuisine is one of the oldest cuisine in the world, right? It's
Yeah.
like, I'm sure, like, there are a lot of cuisines, like there's a lot of cuisines been there for many years, and we are one of the
Yeah.
oldest cuisines, right? And
Yeah.
in America, if you, everybody knows about Mexican cuisine, everybody
Yeah.
knows about Chinese cuisine. How many people they know about Indian cuisines besides butter chicken and garlic naan,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
maybe there are a few other dish. right? I mean, it's not like we eat only butter chicken. I mean, in fact, if you go in South India, like in Tamil Nadu, nobody even know what butter chicken is.
Right.
Right. Yeah, right. And
Yeah.
it's billions of people living up there, right? India is one of the most populated country, the most diverse country. It's very
Yeah.
there's so much culture, there's so much to learn about India. And we don't
Yeah.
even know a lot about India. Within India, what's happening in India, right? Even though I was born and raised in India, I didn't even know much about India. I'm still learning about India. And
Yeah.
I don't think that we're really representing the way we're supposed to be, supposed to represent in America. I mean, first of all, we
Yeah.
need to educate ourselves, and we
Yeah.
still have to learn more, and then we have to let other world also know what our cuisine is, like what our
Mm.
food is, like how much more depth in the flavor, how wonderful our food is. So I think we
Mm.
still have a very long way to go. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, there's so
Oh,
much more, like you said, exploration to be had, just even within
100%.
ourselves, right?
Yes, yes.
And I think that happens when you are also, discovering new places to innovate and new places to actually, start blending things as well. I'm curious about one part of that. The food of your village, right, in Tamil
Mhm.
Nadu, could be different from a village that might be even just 5-6 kilometers away.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
There's huge variations there,
Right,
and even more different from, say, my grandmother's food on the coast of Maharashtra.
right.
But something that they all had in common was the notion that there's a local tradition, right? There's the local tradition of land, of what's available with food and crops, and what's in the community, and customs of each village, perhaps. So when you transplant that food now thousands of miles away in New York City, are you aiming in a way to duplicate it? Or is it just naturally transformed? Therefore, the expectation has to change, right? I mean, you're not necessarily just in that same village anymore. You're actually showcasing it to a global, community, but you're not also having the resources and the farms and the local flavors from that community. So how do you balance both of those two together?
Well, I mean, if you ask me if you're trying to replicate it, I don't know if you can do exactly how my mother's or grandmother cooked it, though. There's
Right.
no way I can do that, how exactly they cooked it.
Yeah.
If you ask me if I'm trying, yes, 100% I'm trying to cook as close as to them, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know if you can able to, there's a small details. There's no way you can able to cook how your mother's or grandmother used to cook it. I
Sure.
mean, we can try, to cook it as close as possible.
I mean, I guess if you can't duplicate it, right?
Right,
Like if
right,
the aim isn't necessarily to duplicate it, but yet you want to, in a way, give people a taste of what it's like to
right,
be in the same kitchen or at the same table as your mom or your grandmother,
right.
or even in that same village, right? How do you do so, and yet not we're not there. We're the whole idea is that we are trying to give someone the experience, and yet the true experience is perhaps actually going back to that village and having the food that's there. Is the idea here that, duplicating these things or replicating these things is just the first step? Are there steps that go beyond that
Oh,
then?
this is the first step. I think you clearly said it's definitely a first step, right? I
Yeah.
mean, like you don't have to create or innovate something crazy, because let's at least cook the food what your ancestor used to cook,
Mm,
because it has so much of flavor, so much taste. Let's try to do
yeah.
that thing first, and then we can either recreate, or like you can innovate whatever you want to, but don't ever give up your roots or authenticity and
Yeah.
flavors and trying to fit into somebody else mold. Saying that, oh, let's be like more fancy by adding some truffles, or or
Mm,
some, that's something which I don't think it's really good idea. Nothing wrong in like elevating things or recreating a wedding, but don't again trying to fit into somebody else's mode.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Let me ask you this. I would imagine that the food doesn't necessarily taste any different after you win an award, like a Michelin star or a James Beard award. But does the feel of the kitchen, the camaraderie, or even the way that you approach leading a team like this, does that now change with, of course, the weight or the responsibility, now the visibility that some of these awards bring? And of course, someone like you who, you're very humble when it comes to how you approach these things, but naturally the tone or the culture might change. Is that something you embrace, or is that something that you want to keep to the same?
Say honestly, whatever blessing that has been happening like last few years, like, with
Yeah.
all this Michelin, James Beard, New York Times, like, you name it, all these accolades, right?
Yeah.
They are beyond blessing. There's no question about it. Like, the
Yeah.
fact that whatever's been happened so far, it's none of us, like, especially me, I did not expect anything, like, because cooking humble food, home cooked food, like, we
Yeah.
just, and I did not expect, none of us, not just me, like the whole team, right? Like, none of us
Yeah.
expected all these things happening, right? The goal is we did not cook the food just to get all those accolades or all those things. From the
Sure.
day one, we just cook the food with the, like I said, with the dignity and pride, and this is our food.
Yeah.
When you cook the food, you have such a responsibility. When you cook your own food, it gives a little more extra connection, right? So I think that way, I think my team has been from the day one, not
Mm.
just me, the whole team, right? Like, everyone
Yeah.
has been cooking with the utmost responsibility and also with a lot of dignity, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think we have to change just because we got everything. I think we are here just because who we were in the beginning. So we
Yeah.
don't have to change for anything else, right? I mean, like I said, it's a huge blessing, whatever is happening. Like, the one thing we have to remind is like the one thing we have to remind ourselves is don't take things for granted. Just
Mm.
because whatever things
Right.
happen, and we always been worked hard. Now it's a time to work more harder because we have so much responsibility on our shoulder right now.
Now, you're someone who's had a very, very long journey when it comes to first, sort of imagining this moment, right? I mean, you do it with some so much humility and gratitude there. But whether it's working on a cruise, whether it's actually working the line, being in Dosa in San Francisco, and then now with Semma, when you think about that journey and then you think about the idea of constantly reminding yourself that you have to pay attention to your roots, you have to represent, that must come with some practice. So how do you think that thinking about the journey of where you've come from and then now sort of constantly reminding yourself of and your team of what it means to be an award winner and yet staying true to your roots, I mean, how has this all made you a better leader, you think?
Okay, don't take things for granted. If I literally look
Mm,
back my journey, like,
yeah.
I came from such a humble background where, we such a humble family, farming family, like, where you literally have to, like, let's say your dad, he has to work, and his whole, like, just his entire wages will go just for us, for our living, for a basic living, just
Yeah.
food and, everything. And basically we just had a life to survive, like, we had a survival life, that's it, right? And the fact that, we if you look back the journey, literally came from nowhere to somewhere. It's not like I came to somewhere, but still I still have a very, very long way to go. Life can never be taken as a granted, like,
Yeah.
not just life, and anything, like,
Right.
um
Right.
like, be thankful, be
Yeah.
truthful, be who you are, and
Yeah.
continue to do your best. So that's my mantra, and I'm so blessed that my team is also believing the same mantra. Then I think that's actually make things more easier to keep pushing
I was going to
things.
say that helps a
Yeah,
lot, right?
yes. I mean, so you can vision whatever you want. You can
Yeah.
do, like, you're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. I was going to change
Right.
everything overnight. You can dream whatever you want. Without your
Yeah.
team, you cannot do anything. So that way, I think I feel so blessed to have a team.
Yeah.
They're not just team; it's a family. Like, it feels like literally a family behind you.
Yeah.
To,
Y-
like, like, including my business partner Chint and Rani, like, my
Right.
entire team. Like, we are like a family right there. Like, it's you
Yeah.
can see that, how much um the
It shows. I'm
it
sure that
right,
everyone
yeah, it's like
everyone has that experience. It
how you
probably
like
is
to
apparent.
lift each other up. Like, I'm sure we
Yeah.
all have sometimes bad days and, difficult days, but the
Sure.
fact that how we'll, like to lift each other up and help each other up, like work as a team and it like a
Yeah.
family, it's actually that way I think I feel so beyond blessed.
You,
Yeah,
you mentioned, again, that you're cooking not necessarily for the awards. You're cooking not necessarily for someone else. You're just being who you are,
right.
and reminding your team of that all the time, and sort of not taking things for granted. But I have a very basic question then about that. So in that case, is food really meant to be judged?
Not at all. It's a food is food. Why do you have to judge the food? Like, I think even my acceptance speech, I think if you notice that I gave a speech like, it's a
Yeah.
food is food. And there's no things called rich people's food or poor people's food, which I
Right.
had some kind of experience in my life.
Yeah.
How I've been judged for eating snails back home. So people, you don't need to classify this as like a poor people's foods,
Right.
rich people's food. And I don't think, not just with the food, anything it matters. You don't have
Mm.
to, classify you as so and so people. You are, based on your like skin color, your
Anything.
religion, caste, you name it. Like
Yeah.
I don't think there is no necessity. I think
Yeah.
it's after all, we are human beings. Let's all see each other as a human being, and let's
Yeah.
respect each other, let's love each other. That's actually my mantra too. It's life
Right.
is, I don't know how much longer we are all going to live there. Like, let's all
Mm.
live peacefully. Let's live happily. Let's work as hard as we can, and then live the life
Yeah.
happily. That's it. I mean, try not to hurt others, and humiliate
Yeah.
others. In just be yourself and live happily.
When you think about that, then, and then the kind of things that come with winning awards, that in maybe not in your eyes but in others, of course, require rigor or judgment or ways in which they're evaluating the experience or the food. I think it's a reminder what you just said so beautifully, that, like, we're all really just living to be ourselves, and in a peaceful way without judgment. Do you think that then the profession of running a restaurant, being an executive chef, do you have to be professionally rigorous and trained to succeed, especially in a world where sometimes that open judgment is part of it? It's a reality of having a successful business.
I mean, having a successful, I mean, to be a chef, I mean, obviously you have to be trained, right? Like, trained and classically. I mean, not necessarily you have to be trained. I mean, there's one thing I have to say is,
Yeah.
you have to cook from your heart. You really
Mm.
have to do from your heart, and you have to enjoy exactly what you're doing. And you just have to go to your work with your full with your full of heart. You don't do just because I'm just go
Right.
there to make some money. That's not going to be for, not just for cooking, for any business. I think
Sure.
you can say that, right? I think you really
Yeah.
have to put your 100% effort. And
Right.
I think, especially with cooking, I think it will show in your food. If you're not really happy with what you do, it's going to show in the food. I want to keep saying that. I don't want to keep saying the word again, dignity and pride. I think that's something that you have to,
Yeah.
you have to have a little bit of pride of what are you doing, and then
Right.
you put your heart, put your soul. I keep remaining my team out. Sometimes I make a joke with them too, I don't see a heart in the food. Where's the heart?
Mm. Yeah.
So it's like they laugh at me, like, okay, so
Yeah.
this is something, right? Yeah.
I'm curious that if in that same way, right, you put your heart and your soul into everything you do, you remind your team of the same thing. How would your mom or your grandmother potentially, what would you think they would have to say about the food at
They're
Semma?
critics. They're 100%. They're perfectionists. I don't think I could
Right.
ever please them. Like, I'm sure my mom is one of those the most perfectionist in the world, even when it comes to like cooking or cleaning. And whatever
Yeah.
she does, she wants everything to be perfect.
Right.
So yeah, I think I kind of inherited a little bit of habit from her,
Sure.
like in terms of picking ingredients, like even when she go to any
Yeah.
typical Indian mother, when they go to markets, literally break the okra, check make sure the vegetables
Right.
are okay.
Right. Yeah.
They feel the tomatoes, make sure they're ripened enough, they're not, things like that.
Yeah.
When she go to any to buy meat or something, she makes
Mm.
sure the meat make sure it doesn't have a lot of fat, a lot of bone, or like it has a good amount of meat in it.
Yeah.
They have criteria like in picking up meat, vegetables, or whatever it is. So when I used to be a kid, it was kind of embarrassing to see her. Why is she doing all those things? It's kind of embarrassing, right? But I think
Mm.
it matters. It matters,
Yeah.
the reason why she picked the best vegetables, best meats, because she has to make sure that she cooks the best food for her kids.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think that's something that I also learned that, because any guest who comes to our restaurant, they are like my family. I just want to
Eh,
make sure they feel like they are in someone's home.
By the way, is that perfectionism from your mom or from your grandmother, and the way that they would maybe comment about the food? Is that part of putting your heart and soul into the food?
Maybe so. I mean, I just caught the habit from them.
Yeah.
I also, I mean, both my parents, they both are like, I think
Sure.
I learned so much from them too. Like, in terms
Yeah.
of, my dad is the most disciplined guy you can ever think of. Like, he's
Yeah.
like, if you had to wake up 5 in the morning, you had to wake 5 up. You get so mad if you don't wake up. Like, you
Mm.
have to be. He's there's a lot of things you like, you have to be good at what you do, like,
Yeah.
be just a lot of mantra you learn from your parents, right? There's a lot of good
Sure.
things. Yeah, like, it's
Sure.
like, don't look at the negative side. Don't worry about other people. There are people going to criticize you. There are people are going to try to pull you down. Do not focus on them. Just
Yep.
ignore them. Just keep doing what you're doing. That's something that I learned from dad. Like,
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
Focus on the signal, not the noise.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. I know that this happens to me. I know lots of people out there who try to cook and cook with heart and soul. They suffer from, of course, the one thing that sometimes can get to them, which is just being bored by their own food, or maybe even just the repetition of their own cooking. How would you suggest people? And I mean, how do you yourself combat that?
See, when you have a like like kind of, it's one of those days you have, like, you don't feel like so energetic. You feel like you feel like
Yeah.
down, right? The
Right.
moment you go to dining room, the moment, like, you go to dining room, you can see the hundreds of people's eyes on you, like not just eyes, the emotional eyes, like, you can see,
Yeah.
like, and the moment they talk to you, like, they literally hold your hands and they bless you, like, like saying that this literally took me back home. And
Yeah.
they're not just emotional, literally you can see the tears in the eyes, saying that this is, I haven't had my mom's food in such a long time. This took me
Wow.
back to my mother's food. And not just I keep I'm hearing and seeing this every single day, right?
Yeah.
So that gives you a lot more responsibility,
Motivation.
motivational responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, this is, I think we're not just cooking food, this is beyond food.
Yeah.
It's emotion, like, it's
Yeah.
emotion. It's a it was like it give you, like, if you're 10 times like down, it'll give you like 100% more energy to be like, bounce back and,
Right.
do better things than what you're doing.
Yeah. No, that's great. I wanted to find out, for you, in thinking about a lot of these things, what if you actually had to unlearn or let go of about yourself in order for Semma to be such a success?
It's a good question. Unlearn. I think, like I said, like, don't focus on the negative energy. I mean, sure, there's going to be some lot of um, criticism that's not even fair criticism. Something is constructive criticism, you have to take it. Otherwise, you can be so stubborn. Oh, I'm always right. I'm the best. You can never do this. I mean, you have to
Yeah.
take the constructive criticism. You have to do the best thing you can do, right? There are some people, they purposely trying to pull you down. They make you feel,
Sure.
so things like that. Don't focus. Just ignore them. The haters are going to be always hate you. Like, you can
Yeah.
never, like, sometimes it kind of takes me, it gets me personal. Like,
Sure.
it's kind of make you feel like so bad, and it kind of affect you to do the other things. And I think for that, I think we have to let it go. We should
Yeah.
never take it personally. It should never let you affect you. Like, that's something that, I started learning, because, there are certain days, like, 1 or 2 days, they know they're doing it on purpose
Yeah.
to make you feel bad, or, like, they're trying to pull you down or whatever it is. I mean, if something is really wrong, if you know that, your heart will tell you this is not right, even though when you come home, it will be, when you self-realize yourself, oh, you know what, I should have done things better. Then
Yeah.
yes, if you definitely know that some people are trying to, like, do it on purpose. I mean,
Right.
that things, I think, just don't take things too personally. Just let it
Yeah.
go.
And does that take practice? Do you have to
I think so.
constantly work at that?
Yeah, I think a practice experience in,
Yeah.
yeah. I also have to say that, I mean, I'm bringing it up, all this negativity and all. I think 99% of the time, I just feel blessed how much,
Yeah.
you know,
Optimism and positivity and
yeah, and that
yeah.
case, like, even the guest, like, it was like this, like I
Sure.
said, emotional guest, like,
Yeah.
everything has been so positive. So I don't
Of course.
need to worry about that 1% at all. Like,
Yeah.
so on that way, I think I feel like beyond blessed how much the love, the positivity that, things are
Yeah.
happening around me. Like, I don't even know that's a word to explain how much blessed I am.
Yeah. And with that, right? So you draw a lot of positivity from your guests and from the experiences from your team. Um, do you approach mistakes or negativity differently now than when you were first starting?
I would say probably negative when I was young. I would probably say, right. I mean, now I think the more you're growing up, you learn a lot of things, right? So
Yeah.
Probably when I was young, I didn't know how exactly to react, how to handle things.
Mm,
When I was in 20s or early 20s or something, the more you're getting matured, and then I think you're learning a lot of things. So
yeah.
yeah,
Does that help you become a better mentor to others? In this
I had to
profession,
ask my mentee who got mentored from my. I don't know if I can talk about myself that if I mentored them properly.
right? Yeah, I mean, so
And
so for you, I mean, do you feel proud
I
to
do,
be
I
able
do.
to
I
be
think
that?
that I do think I do a decent job. I do things for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I definitely do think that I do a decent job. But like I said, I have to ask them how do they feel about me.
sure, sure. Well, let me get you out of here on this. I'm certainly amazed by the positivity, the approach that you have to being so authentic and sincere. But for people who are visiting you and having the food, sharing in the experience, and especially for the first time, how do you hope they feel when they leave? What's something that you want them to particularly leave Semma with that reflects a lot of the same attitudes that you just shared?
So, see, honestly, we always like I said, like 99% of the guests who leaves like so happy and fulfilling, right?
Yeah.
Now with all this recent blessing, with all this, things things get hyped up a little bit. So that
Uh,
actually scares me a lot. Oh my God. People comes with an extra expectation too. Like it was
right.
like that actually scares you a lot. Like no, we have to, I mean, not that we're gonna do the bad job. We're just gonna keep pushing it. We're gonna keep doing better than what we're doing. But
Right.
sometimes psychologically, when someone comes with expectation, like, oh my God, what these guys are doing, like why they have all these clothes and blessings or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And actually, that actually really scares me. Like, oh
Uh,
my God, are we going to live up to everyone's expectation? Like, so
right.
that actually, to be very honest, every single day actually it scares me now. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, like it's like you can
Sure.
know like Indian food, South Indian food. First of all, it has been overlooked for such a long time,
Yeah.
and not just Indian South Indian food. It's a humble food what we cook back home from
Uh,
village, from farms. That food got number 1 in New York Times. You got all the like Michelin, James Beard, all these
sure.
blessings, right? So that actually really scares me actually. So,
Uh,
but after like speaking to a few guests, whenever I have a chance, I touch table, I speak to them, right? To them, the first word they think, when you ask them how was everything, the reply first reply from them is, it completely live up to the expectation. In fact, beyond the expectation. So that
yeah.
actually makes me like, oh my, it melts my heart when I hear this. People do, they actually honestly say that, you know what, honestly, I
Yeah.
came with a higher expectation because sometimes it's not really um, things are never going to be there as they described or whatever, right?
Right.
But
Right.
but hearing from them saying that, dude, this is literally like live up to expectation, in fact beyond
Mm,
expectation. So that
of
actually,
course.
yeah, makes me very happy. But again, that being said, don't take things for granted. That's
Yeah.
the thing. And like, you know what, this is good, now we had to be better.
Well,
So yeah.
for everyone involved, not taking things for granted, living up to expectations, and of course surpassing those expectations, and being so sincere and authentic and humble, but also leading in this food experience along the way. Vijay, thank you so much for joining us today. What a treat, and I hope we can visit with you again down the road.
Please too, and thank you. Such a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
You're listening to Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing. Stay tuned.